This story is infuriating from any angle, as all actors bear responsibility for the tragic events. However, beyond the specifics of the Norma Lizbeth case, we must ask ourselves, how did we get to this point? When did Mexican society start normalizing the kind of libertinism that has become a social aberration, where attempts at supposed good end up causing nearly irreversible harm? Norma was a very well-behaved, quiet, humble girl, a daughter with values who, amid the marginalization she lived in, the absence of money and economic privileges, found motivation in continuing her studies to one day help her mother despite all the hardships. Her blue-walled house was a very cozy place for a family where only she, her sister, and her mother lived. There, dreams began every day, and hopelessness was not an obstacle to moving forward in a world that becomes crazier every day. Humans do not learn from their experiences, neither good nor bad, and once again, the sad story of bullying became present with Norma Lizbeth. At 14, she was already tired of always being bothered by the typical group of malicious youngsters with a cheap sense of superiority based on skin color and economic situation. Middle-class youth believed they were part of high society, making Norma the perfect target to be the class piñata. Norma even talked to her mother at home, saying she was tired of going to that school and didn't want to go anymore. Every day was a torment. But her mother always advised her that values learned at home should be respected and that those who intended to harm her should be ignored and not provoked. If there were problems, she should go to her teachers. The advice of a mother who, given the pressures of work and, above all, the marginalization they faced, could do little. She wondered why to fight with this or that person if they had no money. Norma's mother thought the problem should be solved with the protocols established in the school, which in some way had to be activated despite reports that the principal ignored the complaint. There are always direct or indirect people responsible. Even so, the pressure on a young person who is the target of severe criticism and harassment at that age is a severe blow to their state of mind. Generally, children who are the center of human misery from their classmates become emotionally soft and mentally unstable, sometimes irreparably. In interviews, her older sister, Alma Delia, said her little sister was fed up with all the unpleasant things she experienced and would talk to her about it. However, the day came when Norma had to explode and defend herself from the person behind all that show. The popular saying goes, "The brave live until the coward wants." And Norma wanted to end this and the arrogance of her classmate Azahara Aylin, a middle-class girl who lived in a complicated family environment and was the typical girl who developed systematic hatred toward the so-called weaker one in the class. February 21st was the day when, through their messages, these two characters decided to meet near the school on a semi-abandoned lot where there was already a dirt path. That day, Norma decided not to be the coward that many believed her to be and went to that appointment. Both girls ended what started as mockery, while all their other classmates, like in a Roman circus, supported the supposed good one, Azahara, who brought an object that seemed to be a stone, but turned out to be a kind of horseshoe. The brawl broke out, and Azahara, with malice, showed her true demons. The affected areas were those of a plan already machined and prepared for this show. Norma simply wanted to be happy, never bothering anyone, only wanting to be left in peace. The problem was utterly disturbing because, after the events, Norma lay in the hands of some neighbours from the area who helped her. February 21st was the final date. The little brown-skinned girl with the curls had freed herself forever from that infernal yoke of adolescence. Weeks later, she could no longer bear it and passed into another dimension, leaving total chaos in her environment, an irreparable sadness with her mother, who loved her immensely and will miss her for the rest of her life. But sadly, these conflicts have been normalized by a rotten society that has completely forgotten that values and respect for life and fellow humans are always learned at home. Reports and news made Norma's family see Azahara's family running north to the border of Reynosa and the United States, supposedly prepared to cross. They were fleeing the incident. The mother, instead of reprimanding her offspring, showed her that what she did was to protect her and that it was relatively okay. Her dishonesty, turned into an epic of salvation, ended only in complicity. It is understood that a parent will always look out for a child, but at what cost? Why not accept the evil of your firstborn? Why be afraid to admit that your offspring is a human without mercy? Security caught up with them, and the sentence is harsh but short. Azahara will remain at the Quinta del Bosque Internment Center in the state of Mexico, where young people are counseled for social reintegration. Azahara would remain there for 5 years, thanks to the national law of the Integral Justice System for Adolescents, which perfectly stipulates that those entering such institutions cannot go to an adult prison. Therefore, the law trusts that Azahara can correct her path in the future and reintegrate into society. Here comes the next question. Is the cost fair? Exchanging a soul for a change of attitude that could have been well guided from a young age. That's the debate. What do you think? Leave your comment below and pay close attention to the following. Once again, we are faced with a case that could come to light thanks to social media and community support. In fact, Norma's case reminds us a lot of Jorge Claudio Mendoza, the tamale vendor who spent his last hours working until a reckless drinker took him away forever. However, the case of the young girl who was in middle school and dreamed of becoming a nurse to help others is different from Jorge's because it initially went unnoticed. Subsequently, authorities and the media picked up the case because they had no other choice. This is what happened to the girl from the state of Mexico, who, after losing the battle with death, her parents mobilized, but realizing that the authorities were being negligent and that there was more bureaucracy than justice in her case, they decided to block the Teotihuacan highway, forcing the entire society to pay attention to their plea. Despite it being a small protest, Norma Lizbeth's case garnered widespread attention.